singing bowls because we like those. Folks like those. It's a beautiful day here. I have a couple bowls with me. I'm doing a workshop on the 22nd of September, a masterclass to introduce the main ideas. And the main ideas of neurodivergent embodiment, neuroaffective somatics. Shay is here. Casey is here. Hello, hello. Hi. This is a new setup. I'm sitting on a chair where I can have my sense of bum. Are we crafting today? I wasn't planning on it, but I think that's a great idea. Should we do that? What I was thinking was that I would print out some things and we could contemplate the Shen. We can craft with Shen. This setup, thank you. I'm just sitting in front of my altar. This is a piece I did to take up space. Hello, Virginia Beach. How are you today? Welcome. Welcome to the Shen Den, or the being seen, or just existing, however you want to understand it. Shay was just suggesting that we do some crafting. You know what might be fun, Shay, would be to make our own medicine wheels, our own 5-element medicine wheels. In order to do that, hi, Paul Davies. Somebody just said hi. Nice that I'm so happy you're here. So Shay is the teacher of the day, and Shay's not online with us right now. So do you want to come and help guide? Okay, so what you'll need to do the 5 elements is a piece of paper, something to write with, and if you have colored pencils, and then we'll get into the colors in a moment. Let me go grab my materials. You go grab your materials, or just hang out here for a moment. I'll be right back. Okay. This looks much larger than it needs to be. These are my markers. I grabbed a square piece of paper because the Chinese medicine wheel ends up being something that would fit on a square, but it's totally cool if you have a regular, like, normal size piece of paper. And it's also okay if your paper has lines on it. Like, all of that is fine. That was just gravity. If we haven't figured it out yet, I operate through chaos. Chaotic good and chaos. Chaos abounds. Awesome. Okay, so the 5 elements of Chinese medicine are the 5 elements of amazing. They're the 5 elements of awesome. They are elements that you can touch, feel, measure, interact with in real life, 3D, and in real life, in your body, without having to add anything to what you already have. So a lot of alchemical processes and alchemical systems invite us into the idea of ether. Chinese medicine says, oh, that's nice, we're going metal. So let's hang out with the elements. Shay, I love you right now. The way folks are seeing me, it's going to look either correct or incorrect. So you're going to have to do a little bit of contemplating on your own, whether or not you have something that you're writing on. You'll still be able to check it out. The first element that we need to contemplate is the element of fire. Very important element. What I would like you to do On your paper, though, just to make it easy, is do a 5-pointed star. Okay, because that will get everything right where we want it to be with the 5-pointed star. So make a 5-pointed star. We're making a medicine wheel, in case anybody's wondering. So here's your 5-pointed star. Mine is weird, but yours can be any way that you want it to be. So make a 5-pointed star to begin. And then at the top of the 5-pointed star is going fire, the fire element, and that is the color red, or the word fire, or a flame, or if you're using your computer, you could put like a little picture there, or you could grab something from your environment, but it goes right on top. Fire. Going clockwise, which I may or may not be appearing clockwise in your view, but going clockwise, the next is earth, and that's going to be yellow or Y or the word earth or something else entirely based on you and what you want it to be. I'm just picking up whatever I have here. And so when you're looking at the star that you're making, the fire should be on top and the earth should be the first landing going clockwise. And again, I'm not sure how you're seeing this depending upon how it's being displayed to you. After earth, the next one, so we're just going around in the circle. The next one is metal. And that's typically white, but we're going to make it gray or black or some other color. But I usually go with gray, and it's metal. So you could also write metal or M or use something else that means metal to you. Do I have something gray? Yes. Metal. The star just makes it easy to place the elements, and then we'll talk about how they all go together. Spicy fire, yes. So we got metal, so we have earth. This is earth, this is fire, this is metal, this is water. This is, Krishna, we're making a medicine wheel, a Chinese medicine wheel. And I had folks do the star first so we can just know that there are 5 points. So this is water. This is blue. So you're going to put something blue there. And then the last one is wood, which is green. So it goes fire, earth, metal, water, wood. And again, when you're looking at it yourself, it should be so that the fire would be at high noon and the earth is going clockwise. So I think TikTok, you're looking at this backwards. So just to be aware. Okay. The lines that go, this star, these are the lines of, hey man, back off. These are the lines that slow it down. Okay, but they're not like punchlines. They're just slow it down. If you go around in the circle, you make more. So you can now do a round circle. I'll get out a real chart here in a moment so you can see what it looks like in a formal, official way. And then we can talk about the Shen. I'm just looking for my chart. Where is my chart of Chinese medicine? I don't know. Oh, here it is. And so by making your 5-pointed star and putting the elements on it, you have now turned your paper into your very own medicine wheel that is kind of like what your Chinese medicine doctor would use. Well, it's not kind of, it's exactly that. So these elements are inherent to us. Why is Earth yellow? Earth is yellow because it's the color of dirt where in central China. So the 4 elements besides earth, fire, metal, water, and wood, if we were to plot them on a map, north, south, east, west, earth is going to be in the center. Fire is going to be south. Water and wood and metal are east-west, and I can't remember which is which right now. And earth is in the middle. I have also been told, Shay, that earth is yellow because of the yellow emperor. So there's a historic figure named the Yellow Emperor who invented Chinese medicine. Oh, and by the way, we're talking about this medicine wheel. He didn't invent Chinese medicine. He invented acupuncture. You can't wait to say that again. Oh, the Yellow Emperor. Did I say the Witches of Eastwick? No, I did not say the Witches of Eastwick. So Earth is in the center because of the Yellow Emperor. The colors of the elements mirror the colors of the earth and the dirt from the directions in China where they come from. So this is very earth-based. Yes, it is what you were thinking, the Yellow Emperor. Oh, please listen while you work. Kiwi, welcome. We're talking about the elements of Chinese medicine. I'm going to be periodically inviting you to my master class coming up on the 22nd, where we'll do like a whole go through all of the things. I'll be playing bowls tonight, Jack, with the somatics. We'll do that. I'll do that tonight. We're going to do some exercises and I'll play some bowls. So these elements, when you look at this medicine wheel, think of it like string art. Have you ever seen that art where there are a little bunch of different nails and people wrap string around it and it makes beautiful, beautiful geometric shapes? That's kind of how I understand this. Also, one other way to contemplate this medicine wheel is that the Shen, which are the animating forces, they are the entities, because Asia is much wiser than we are. So the Shen do the labor. This also illustrates the directions that the Shen go. So they can go around, right? But if water restricts fire, that also means that my kidney Shen can go towards my heart Shen and say, hey, calm down just a little bit. Mac and May. I'm not sure what that is. Social. Not sure what that is. These elements, they are with us at all times, and depending upon what we're born with and what the challenges are we have in life, they might be more or less strong or prominent. The element that is primarily contemplated, or at least it's the one that's primary in the literature, is fire. And spiritually and psycho-emotionally, the entity, they are all connected. The entity of fire is called Shen, S-H-E-N. And Shen is also the word for the spirit of a something, or the idea of a something, or the essence of a thing. It's like Chinese medicine for archetypes, called a Shen. Around the pegs today, you thought your mother, Vera, did that grown up. That's cool. I like that. You had a memory and a connection, a personal connection. Because you know why? this stuff is so amazing for personal connection. So Shen, the main Shen, the Shen of your organs, and there's the Shen of you. And the Shen, I point to my head because the Shen of you is the idea of. It's the idea of, or how you understand your spirit, how you understand your soul, all of that is the Shen of the totality of you. And you have a Shen in your heart. You see connection. You didn't get it until just now, drawing and explaining. Oh, good. Yeah. I feel like there's a lot of depth that happens here as well. If I could show you a different way. So like, here's the medicine wheel. Here's a Shen. So we're back to particles and waves. All the physics people looking to the universe for the answers so that you can have right in your own living room. We're going to make this water. Okay. Hold on. So I'm just saying this is the Shen of the water element. And I put it on a string because I want you to see what happens. So let's say that the Shen goes out, you come to your Chinese medicine doctor and they do something for your kidneys. This might go out and it goes out and it does stuff. So if it's going to help with the experience of fire, then it's going to go this way. And look, now the string made the line. But this has dimension. So it might actually be happening like this, or like this, or like I don't know how any of that works. Do you know how this works? I don't know how that works. I just know that that's what happens. And there's something about relating to Shen specifically that alleviates a lot of the pressure for me having to know all the middle bits. Yes, tensegrity in the elements, absolutely. This is shentegrity. This is shentegrity. So tensegrity is a word. Tensegrity has to do with just right tension, with having the appropriate amount of pull, of push, of stretch, of settle, of reach. It's a dynamic situation. And the elements in Chinese medicine are all contemplated through dynamics. Absolutely. And then we're looking for tension. You look for the right amount of tension. The elements have names. There are entities. I'm looking for the book that I want to show you because I didn't print a bunch of stuff out. All right, I'm going to have to print some things out. Let's print something out. Tell me how you're doing while I print something out. Tensegrity of the elements. One of the ways I like to contemplate the elements is that, I just upgraded my Canva. Something happened. I don't want to discover the glow up. Everything's going to change now. How am I supposed to find my thing easily? I'm just looking I want to print out these images for you. All right, well, I'm not going to print them out because I don't have them easy to hand. You hate updates. Every time my computer updates, I feel like I need a new education on how to have a computer and how to exist with the technology. Luckily, the Shen don't really update. They're just always there. We can always count on them. So the Shen of your heart is called Shen. The Shen of earth is Yi or Ji. Sometimes I get them mixed up. Hold on. What am I looking for? Wait, makes you feel old. I just totally lost my train. Let me get back onto track here. I don't know where it went. Music's playing. Debate was last night. Stuff's happening. Anyway, I can't remember. So, so this goes with your heart. Fire is your heart. Oh, thank you. Yeah, I think I'm just going to move on to something else. Water tempers fire. So your spleen is the earth element, stomach and spleen. And on your body, that's going to be like just under your left ribs. There's a sound and a shape we can do to benefit the stomach and spleen, and then I'll go back to the heart. But for the stomach and spleen, if you acknowledge that you have a spleen, it's just so simple. We don't even have to go all the way into that healing smile and everything. Acknowledge that you have a spleen. If you don't know for sure, look at your thing and look at the earth and know that that is stomach and spleen. The emotions associated are trust and worry. So the experience of like racing thoughts of rumination and calm or calmer. The sound is whoo, W-H-O-O-O. Speaking of owls, Shay was being an owl yesterday. Whoo, like an owl. And what happens when you're working with the Shen through the breath is the Shen brings in the trust and lets out worry with the breath, just like I was showing you with the string, which I have right here, which I'm going to find very easily. Just like I was showing you with the string. And I like to contemplate this part as like all the shame having a way to go, all of the stories that have a opportunity to change or shift so that my narrative about something might be more empowering, like all of that. This is how it happens. So like whatever the essence is of me, the essence is of my water element, the essence is of my spirit, all of that stays. It can never be changed because it was with me when I was born, but the shame was not. So shame has a way out with the Shen. No shadow, only Shen. No shame, only Shen. Does that mean that shame stops existing? No, absolutely not. It does give another place for it to go where I don't have to sit with it first. I mean, maybe you like sitting with your shame. I don't. I feel bad enough. Excuse me. When you download the free materials, or even better, when you come to the master class, these are a little bit easier as it relates to like contemplating towards your body. This medicine wheel that we just made. But let's not start with the end. Let's start here. So here you can see I gave you a flashcard for this is the lungs. And they're the first healing sound. The sound is S. So this is alchemy that we do ourselves to ourselves with the breath that matches and goes with all of the alchemy that your Chinese medicine doctor does with needles. How about that? Lungs are metal. Isn't it fascinating that lungs are metal and our lungs are where we breathe? And ether is the element that metal replaces in Chinese medicine. And ether is air. So it's like as I contemplate all these systems, I keep finding parallels. I find lots of parallels. I find the most consistency in China. even from a data perspective, like the data just hasn't been corrupt in the machine itself, like in the internet. It's just hasn't been corrupt. So lungs are metal. Lungs are grief. Lungs are also, as you know, very important with CPR, but we're not talking about that today. It makes sense because of mucus. The lungs make sense. The metal makes sense because of mucus. Ooh, now I want to know more about why you say that, what you see there. That's fascinating. Grief. Kidneys are water, so that's going to be a little bit lower in your body. Kidneys are contemplated as the storehouse of Jing, or where our most essential, crucial, critical, innate, inherent, only what we have born with energy. This is where it lives. Mucus tastes like metal, maybe. The water, that's a really interesting. Shay just had this, like, I don't know. But a lot of this is really about the fluids in the body, for sure. So the water element in the body, water from the kidneys, we know that the adrenal glands are right by the kidneys. Your adrenal glands are the source of cortisol and adrenaline. So whenever you have a stress response in the body, adrenal glands are activated. If you live in chronic stress, you live with chronic activation. If you're in functional freeze, most of the time, I think a lot of us are, we're chronically activated and like having to move instead or anyway. And that's very depleting for life force energy. This is also why, yes, it is. This is also why humans who are chronically ill and live with chronic pain in particular have a really fucking tough time some days just getting up and out of bed, because that involves the water element, and all water does on its own is land. So moving as a human being means that we're operating against gravity with the water element in our bodies sometimes. So tuning to the water element through the kidneys can be one way that we can start increasing the field or the window of tolerance, however you want to understand that. The sound is chew, C-H-O-O-O-O-O-O-O. Chew. Chew. Hydration requires movement. Chew. So chew, C-H-O-O-O-O-O. And that's for the water element in the body. So our kidneys are helping to clean our blood. Hold on. They also are positioned at what's called the gate of life in the bean chart, which I will also be discussing in the masterclass on the 22nd, of course. This is the bean chart. So this is the inner landscape. So the medicine wheel itself, this would be almost like you're looking at a watch. Okay, but not of time, just as far as what it's relating to. This is personal you to you, going like this. These are your elements, my elements. This is very much like looking at an X-ray or a schematic or some sort of intergalactic interface is one of the ways I contemplate this. It's intergalactic. And speaking of so we're still on the kidneys, we're still on the water element. The entity, the Shen associated with the kidneys is Zhi, Z-H-I. I have pictures of her in my shop. If you want, you can buy them. But is she also the phoenix? I don't know. I did my own interpretation, but Z-H-I, kidneys. On the bean, on this chart, this is visualized right here, this area here. And it's labeled the gate of life. So kidney energy, the awareness of kidney, the awareness of arousal comes through kidney chi, kidney energy. And then what we do with it is, whatever we're doing with it. Okay. Hydration requires movement. Hi, bird on a wire. I didn't recognize that was you. I'm so sorry. So the next element on our amazing medicine wheel that we all just made, that you can have your own. How cool is that? Actually, let's do this in order of the sounds. The next element is wood. And that's going to go with your liver. TikTok, you're seeing this backwards. Everybody else is seeing this accurate. Your liver's on your right side. Okay, that's the same side as the passenger in a car. These are the emotions of anger and forgiveness. And the sound is shh, like you're asking someone to be quiet. Shh. Shh. So this is what we can do for ourselves for this element and the organ and the emotions and having a body. All right here. That's incredible, I think. Shh. I mean, what else did you need to do? This is green. Nice. Cool. One way to contemplate wood in this environment is as the aspects of us that absorb and are supported by things and then can grow into anything that we're doing. There's a lot of landscape here. There's trees. This is a whole field down here. This is mountains up here. Very pastoral. Lived experience. The bean. I'm just like saying the names again and again. Again, free materials in my link tree if you want them. Stuff to buy also, of course. But start out with the free stuff. Next, we're going to hang out with this child on the Star Bridge. We go to the heart next. That's a ha sound. I'm live again. Yes, thank you. I'm glad you're here. I'll be live later too. We'll be doing some more somatics with sound. So the sound for the heart is ha, H-A. It's joy and hate. Ha. Heart. Top of the pole position. Very, very most important. Shen is like the primary concept, right? So here's a sound we can use. I just love that. Next, we're back to earth. We started there. That's the who sound, W-H-O. I want to tell you a little bit about earth on your inside. Next. So remember, this medicine wheel is personal to you. So all of the elements are universal, obviously, water, fire, wood. Let me answer that 1 second. Is 528 good for your baby, or do I recommend enough? I am not that kind of sound human. I would be more concerned with decibel levels, personally. I don't know the answer to that. I grew up the child of musicians. My mother played the trumpet while she was pregnant with me. And I was playing the piano by the time I was 3. I think my first language must have been French because that's what so much of the opera is in. Hello, ma'am. It's Darla. So I don't know the answer to that, and why would it not be? Yeah, it was a pretty interesting childhood. I had 3 pianos in the house growing up, 4 when my dad died. Darla, they said hi. Go, yeah, they said hi. So the earth in your body, earth in the body. Oh my goodness me. I sometimes when I speak to this, I start using words that sound like religion, and I don't have a background in any of it. So if I do say something that sounds like that, let me know. Yes, ma'am? What would you like? She's not usually this. When you say hi, Darla? Speaking of Shen, speaking of strange attractors of chaos, get a cat, right? You had to make an account to comment. Oh, that's weird. So, earth in the body, okay? Earth element in the body is going to be located or positioned or contemplated in at our stomach and spleen, that pairing of organs. Stomach and spleen in particular, spleen, not stomach so much. Stomach is very active. Spleen is just existing. Also, though, our whole body is earth. So Taoism, we contemplate the body as the physical body and the planet, that it's already part of the planet. And a huge piece of that is because environment is so important in the contemplation medicinally, as well as psychically, and just even from a divination perspective. Location matters. Also, direction, which I used to think was like north, south, east, west, which I really have a hard time with. So I just don't do anything that requires proficiency in the 3rd dimension, like in real space-time. It's just too hard for me. It's not that. It's the direction of the alchemy. Yes, ma'am. What would you like? Do you want water? Okay. Let me go get her some water. She's having a meltdown. Come on, let's go get some water. So when you go to the Chinese medicine doctor and they do acupuncture, that would be considered external alchemy from the position of the provider, because the provider is taking action onto or through your biofield, right? And then that's going to have an effect, an impact on you. As it would relate to the 3rd dimension, Wei Dan or external alchemy, you could also, oh, I'm glad you feel like you're learning. Yay. You could also contemplate it as feng shui. So feng shui, the whole art of furniture placement, you might be familiar with from China. And if you're on TikTok, I hope you follow that guy, the architecture guy. Now you know. He's always doing the little feng shui problems with where you put the furniture, and he discusses, like, if you put your bed under a window, the monkeys are going to come eat your head. I sleep under a window. They're fine. They never come eat mine. But it is a feng shui thing. That's external alchemy. And so earth, when the alchemy is external, earth is also contemplated as the location of the human. So it's not just what's on the inside, it's where the human is. Yes, ma'am. It's also backwards and upside down. It's very complex. In your body, though, like in your actual body, in the Ni Jing too, in this chart. Yes, ma'am. All of the land, all of the ground in here, this is all landing in you. These are all landings in the body. On the 22nd, we're going to do a big tour of this where I'll just introduce you to the characters and all the positions. These characters, though, we can also read them as the diaphragms in the body. They can be read as different organ systems. They can be read so many ways, but very, very important when you're reading this is to note that these are standing on and in this environment. They're not facing you like they're going to jump out. Do you see that? Like they're doing stuff in here, these creatures, these entities. So this is bringing us in to the body. There's your belly button. This is your low gut, right? Here's your heart. This is the window of tolerance. Look at that, your window of tolerance right here. Here's your head. So head, heart, and belly. Earth, 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 earth. So much land in the body. The translation of this states very clearly that fruition or success relies upon the earth of the central palace. That's this earth. Okay, not this earth. This earth is the earth that you exist. You should never, ever, ever, ever have to give evidence, prove, or provide reasons to have worthy of existence. We say, you exist in the first place. That's all that matters. Microbiome, yes. Earth at the central palace. Microbiome is way outside of my scope. Way outside of my scope. I won't even go there. That turns me into a medical doctor immediately. So but yes, the earth of the central palace. When water freezes, it floats, right? So like if you put ice in a glass with water, the ice is buoyant. So if we contemplate the fight, flight response, fight, flight, freeze, all of that, when you're in a freeze, water has frozen. It's too buoyant. When you're fight, flight, then the water has steamed, right? That's like getting water too hot too fast. So alchemically, the result of fight, flight, or chronic stress or chronic trauma is in some ways an arid climate. You get dry here, or it just like changes the climate. This absolutely influences the microbiome. And again, I'm not that kind of a human, but alchemically, energetically, what this does, I believe, is it genuinely communicates the need to be temperate, slower, a little bit more gentle, especially with water, especially with the water element in the body. And this is going to take us away from nervous system regulation and towards resonance. Towards resonance. If you regulate something, like you would have to apply electricity essentially. And if it's already a dry climate, then the sparks can start fires, as an example. Or if soil is dry and it rains, it might flood. It's making so much inner sense. Yes. Oh, I'm so happy. Restate the 22nd event. On the 22nd of September at noon, 2-hour masterclass introducing the microcosmic orbit, the 6 healing sounds, the inner smile. We're going to tour the I Ching 2 and do a seated somatic practice. It's going to be a whole full thing, 2 hours. I think I want to make it so that you can access that in the future. I'm not sure how I want to do that, but that will also be the foundation for coming into the tantric practices. So that's just like a good foundational thing. If you facilitate at all, if you guide at all, you should come. It's $30. If you don't have $30 in your budget, please tell me. I really don't want money to keep people out of knowing. I need to pay my rent, but people have money. Thank you for asking that. So, where was I though when I got distracted by that? Shay, help me. Where's my mind? Okay, hold on. It's making inner sense. Hydration. Oh my goodness. Okay, I'm going to have to. Water. Thank you. Water being like it can flood arid soil. So my experience of Kundalini narratives and ascension narratives, and this is the narrative of the skinny white yoga chick and the narrative of Western wellness and the narrative of all sex therapy and all psychedelic assist, all of that narrative. It's narrative of ascension. And now it's married to this narrative of regulation that Stephen Porges, Bessel van der Kolk, and Peter Levine have brought forward with the polyvagal theory. Polyvagal theory is the theory that the vagus nerve specifically and only is responsible for the totality of your experience of trauma. Just your vagus nerve. So let me grab, I have a wonderful tool for the polyvagal theory. This is Deb Dana. I like her work the best. But I just want to show you, because they're so close. They get so close, but these folks, I say they don't believe in gravity because they don't have the body in the model. You have to add the body. Where in my body, as I grab my polyvagal flip chart here, I should make one of these, that was really cool. Where in my body do I have a ladder? Hold on, let me. She calls it the polyvagal ladder. Where the fuck in my body do I have a ladder? There's no ladder in the human body, does not exist. So immediately that puts us in a hierarchy. And here it is, it's a hierarchy, autonomic hierarchy. So autonomic is the word for auto magic in the body. The Shen are auto magic. The Shen are auto magic in Chinese medicine. The hierarchy that's presented in Western medicine as it relates to the experience of trauma says that the vagus nerve has a parasympathetic, this is where I'm all connected and happy. And it has a sympathetic, which is where I'm mobilized and like moving. And then it has this dorsal vagal, which is immobilization. And he writes it to the evolution of human. I laugh at this because where is a whole ass human in this? There's no whole ass human here. This is one of the better, look at this. Oh, I'm on a ladder. I have a ladder. There's no ladder in the human body. This is a metaphor. And then we tell people they're on a ladder. And that immediately makes us go up and down and up and down and up and down and up and down. And hey, guess what? Up and down is why we're all miserable. Because we're not out. We're not in, out, and around. So what Chinese medicine does, what it says is, yeah, this is all happening. And the vagus nerve has a job, which is to do its job. But hey, guess what? Your whole body mind is much bigger than that. And in an environment and influenced and influences environment. No, I did not make those. Those are from Deb Dana. So what Chinese medicine says is, if that's the case, let's contemplate the environment. Let's contemplate what that is. The neuroscience parallel would be affect, affective neuroscience, looking at the expression of a thing. So to be activated or to be in a fight response is going to show up auto magic. It'll show up individually and uniquely, depending upon who it's occurring with, when and where and how and all those things. So being able to label and identify a state is wonderful. Also, practicing existing is very useful. So these practices from China, these inner alchemy practices, are very much like brushing your teeth, so that when something happens, you're ready to go. So the breaths in particular, I need to have you be a little bit closer to me. Bird on a wire. There we go. I couldn't read you. We're leading to integration. Thank you. What I'm trying to do with this is provide a framework to put around and tools to add. Because especially for neurodivergent and oppressed humans are not going to have relief, period, because there's oppression. Disabled humans are not going to have relief because there's disability. Traumatized humans are unlikely to experience relief because we're consistently re-traumatized. So if we put people in a narrative of post-trauma, and trauma is occurring, how does that help? Also, regulating like the regulatory factors that the vagus nerve does. Aaron, that's my neighbor. The regulatory factor of the vagus nerve is there are other mechanisms in the body that regulate, but there are also entities in the world that regulate, like the SEC and the FDA, and governments. Why would we want to start keying into that kind of idea when it comes to like the whole ass human? Personally, I think we need more. So what the TCM says is if a human is consistently and persistently out of balance in a direction, then what do we do about that? So as an example, when I had my stroke in 2018 and was becoming paralyzed, I went to a craniosacral therapist because I was like, I'm losing my legs. That means I got to go to my brain. And then I went to a Chinese medicine doctor. He was like, oh, you have too much qi. And I was like, you think so? Because it was like all stuck up here. Nothing was traveling down. And so he was doing lots and lots of just very, very gentle, subtle treatment, mostly on my back to help the energy move. It didn't fix my paralysis, but it's a bigger, more whole way to contemplate the totality of a human. And it's also, it tends to be more gentle, and it's very much respecting of whatever you have going on. So when I'm, what's a good example? A really good example is identity, role, and gender and bodies. So like how your biology is, right? If you're familiar with the phrases AFAB and AMAB, assigned female at birth and assigned male at birth. Hi, Trapped and Strange. I felt very seen by you. I can't remember what, oh, this is tea, by the way, people ask. Hold on. I just got all excited by my friend. I'm gonna readjust. We're just hanging out anyway. So regulation is important. I encourage you to contemplate resonance, to resonate. It also takes us into more music, more thinking, more like feeling, more less language-based. And there's plenty of regulation. You'll get regulation. There's tons of it. But here, in the Shendan, we look for resonance. So personally, I tend to need a lot in order to settle. I have a history of like very intense extracurricular activities. My sex life has always been like objectively dangerous from a bondage perspective, from a BDSM perspective, from a body fluid. I mean, like I historically engage in activities that are objectively dangerous, and then I feel really good and relaxed after. And some folks might look at those activities and be like, hey, what is up with that? You are so unbalanced. That is so much. That's way too much. And I can say in response, excuse me, feeling pretty good now. Regulation is reactionary. Regulation is based on the slave trade. 100% population control. Very much. Doesn't make it bad. I think it's really good for us to be aware of it. Very good for us to be aware of it. The other thing that can happen when you come into this environment and you start connecting into and experiencing what it's like in your own inner landscape is now we have a shared place to put our language, which isn't just the idea of. So as an example, on the bean, right, if I have a headache, I might be able to show you, well, it's like right back here. It's all the way back here. Wait, no, it's not. Okay, it's back here, right? I might be able to say, well, my headache's back here. That's a pretty cool environment to place a headache. Neither of us is doctors. Okay, that's cool. Maybe you know something that maybe that's a tension, maybe that's a this, maybe that's a that, and then we have a conversation. How do you experience your belly? How do you experience menstruation? How do you experience digestion? How do you experience is very different than are you digesting, are you menstruating, and what's happening? And it creates so many more questions, which can be very frustrating if you're only looking for answers. But if you're having an ongoing experience that is complex, that is maybe forever, it can be so good. After decades of dysregulation, peaceful states of being, vibration, yeah. I like it like root, rise, reach, resonate. And the wonderful thing about contemplating the body as already on the planet is you don't have to count so much or do so much math once you're aware of something. So it's going to shift some of the conversations from tell me 5 things you can see, 4 things you can hear, 3 things you can la la la, to let's get here first. I call that sense of bum. Get on the surf, on. Okay, on. The physics term is flatland. Get on flatland. You have to get on paper. And consciously, with our consciousness and our awareness, often just getting on a surface gets us to the 2D awareness, and then we can have a 3D reality that's rooted in our own core of soma, our own core of gravity, rather than the core of gravity of where I am or the core of gravity of the conversation I'm in, or even worse, the core of gravity of the system that I'm in, what's mine. That also changes how we experience power in uneven power dynamics. This is out of scope for what we'll be discussing on the 22nd, but you'll need this for future conversations. So most conversations I enter into, even with my immune status and my disability status, I'm going to have much privilege and power. I'm educated, I'm decent looking, I speak English as my native language, I have tools, I just have privilege and power. So if I come to help you and I'm like this, I have the answers and I know what you need, okay? And this comes through. It comes through computers. It comes through devices. It absolutely comes through interpersonally. And I'm the one in charge, right? Because I'm the doctor, I'm the therapist or whatever, and I have all the things. And you're behaving or doing a certain way, and I'm going, ooh, that's what this is. That's what this is. Then I'm checking your work essentially against something else. And providers have to do that. Mental health care especially has to do that because they have to label you. But then once you're labeled, where is the bias of the provider? The bias of the provider is everywhere, especially if the provider is only contemplating patient, if they're not contemplating whole ass human. And you get the whole ass human by backing off and pulling back. Taoists call it Wu Wei. That's what Wu Wei is. It's literally setting things up and backing off. And that's such a very different way to contemplate being in a helping position than a lot of how we're guided into these ideas today through Western medicine, and very much through the skinny white yoga chick. My God, have you listened to the human design people? Your human design is basically you consenting to being brainwashed. Syncing with your lessons of the week. Yes. Love it. Love it. Love it. Yawn. So these practices, you couldn't get info on human design. You felt it too strange. The human design guy his whole thing is based on the I Ching, which is the divination from China, which I'm only just getting into after 40 years of contemplation. This guy says he translates all of human design into a map. And however it's more of how it's being taught anymore. Bird on a Wire and Trapped in Strange, and Shay and anyone else who's still here, because it's being taught as the final. It's being taught as determination or determinism. Is that what it's called? Predestination or any of that, right? It's being taught as, oh, if you're this way, that means blah, blah, blah. And you have to da-da-da. And that is not Taoist. It's not non-dual. It is lazy. It's good for selling things. I'm going to have to do something similar, but it's also like, it's just not what it is. So the map of human design is best contemplated as anything, any kind of media like this, which is contemplated as propaganda. And I encourage you to contemplate all of my media as propaganda as well. Because if you contemplate it as propaganda, it'll be neutralized immediately. And then you can see what you can do with it. You do have some creds. I believe you. Question everything. People just are. Yes. Do you remember? Have you read the Tao of Pooh? Pooh just is. So this is another device, another tool that therapy uses to talk about nervous system regulation. This is Babette Rothschild's tool. She wrote a book called The Body Remembers, which I think is better than The Body Keeps the Score. I don't know why anybody is still reading Bessel van der Kolk. She gives us a range of danger. This is the danger range of nervous system dysregulation. Let me read you what she says is the hypo freeze, because I was in this state for more than a year and I should have died and I didn't. I didn't die because of somatics, because of the Shen, not because I'm smart and clever. I also didn't die because I didn't listen to these assholes, because none of this helps me if my brain broke. If I can't write a sentence, if I can't, I was unable to add 2 cells in Excel, and I'm supposed to remember my master's degree level at the time. I'm probably a fucking PhD at this point in trauma. No. My body's not working. Where's the ground? What can I do? How do I hold a pencil? It gets very, very practical. You go to like logistics. It gets very basic. This chart is a chart from Babette Rothschild. It's the autonomic nervous system precision regulation chart. I love this chart, Stacy, as a tool. This looks at your nervous system in different states. And what I was just sharing is this hypofreeze and hyperfreeze, discussing that your emotions are dissociated, that you can't connect with people, that you're sweating, like how the hyperventilation occurs, all of this. I was in this state for over a year. Should have died. Did not, because I'm Taoist. And then when I got back up on my feet, and then I found cancer at the beginning of the pandemic. And I'm just saying, even though I knew I was in this state, it was also the case that my food was digesting, that my air was happening, that my hair was growing, that I still existed. I had 2 arms, 2 legs, and a head. I could always tell that I was in a place, like, you know, so it's very practical. This is not very practical. This is useful, but it's not practical. It's certainly not helpful in a crisis. And a lot of trauma work and trauma therapy operates as though the human is in crisis, even though they're talking about post-trauma. And that's because Western medicine is based on the concept of an intervention, which will bring us back here. So we're back to this medicine wheel and this idea of intervention. There is no intervention here. This is innervation. So the vagus nerve, the longest nerve in the body, the nerve that everybody's excited about, very important nerve, vagus nerve innervates. It goes through all of our major organs, all of them. Your one nerve goes through all of them. It innervates. So the implication of an intervention is that you're going to break this charge somewhere with what you're doing. Okay, and because this is where the inner child lives, alchemically, an intervention is like this. You're just punching. I'm not saying it's good or bad. I'm just saying it's like a big fucking deal, a big deal. So to be attuned to intervention and to intervene into a body mind that is already traumatized, oppressed, depressed, you know, disabled or whatever, that's like a fucking lot. Okay? CPR is punching. CPR is terrible. Your body and inner child have been punched way too much. Oh my God, yes, they have. Of course they have. So the inner child, I'm positioning in the cosmic ball sack of love, bird on a wire. I think you've heard me say this before, the pericardium. So we have to have awareness of heart because we have heart. But if we contemplate pericardium, that's the sac where the house of the heart is the pericardium. So it's connective tissue, connects. We like that. Connective tissue is a tensegrity structure. So now I also have connection and tension. And the inner child can also be contemplated as your thymus gland, which is the gland that produces our T cells. So we can smile to the inner child. What I love is smiling to other people's inner children, especially since I'm usually the only person with a mask on. Most folks don't know that I'm doing that. I think I might be about done. I'm going to have to eat before I do my 1:30 thing. You can make up your own Shen. It's the only way you can navigate people. Yeah. we are being measured so much, so often, especially by our providers. And a lot of the narratives we're being invited into as it relates to wellness have to do. Ace! Ace is here. My day is made. A lot of what we have to do is like accept it and then work around. I call myself the queen of the workaround for a reason. There's a reason they hired me in STEM to do all the information architecture, because I'd be like, you just like add something on the other side. Why am I telling you that? I don't know. I got all excited about Ace being here. Pardon me. I'm going to go get an apple. So if you can, come on the 22nd. If you don't have the $30, let me know. I will comp you or we'll work, like seriously, just come. I've room for 20. I'm going to keep it small, and then you're going to have the whole experience, and you can ask me questions. One of the other benefits of Chinese medicine in particular is it's always pointing to something else, and the patterns are the same all the time. So every time you see two, it's going to be yin and yang, which is going to mean magnet. Or some of us have discussed the words always, already. The always, already, gravity, yin and yang. Anytime you see three, you can easily assume yin, yang, shen, or the three treasures, which are Jing, Qi, and Shen. The threes are the ways that we get around all the things, okay? So the three is the trick for the alchemy. 4 is going to be the cardinal directions. 5 will be the elements. So it's the same all the time. Super cool. Clinical chart, question everything. Don't let yourself imagine a human design over your body. So agree. So agree. So what has happened with media in particular, the whole concept of media theory, I'm waiting for this to get big enough for me to pop, and you're seeing me be excited about it. The whole concept of media theory, I think, can also be broadened to let's just recognize what is media. And that any screen you're looking at, any piece of paper you're looking at, anything that's being presented to you is media. So right now, I am media. I am not a human. I am media. You should question. The first thing to question is, am I looking at Katie as I would if I was in a room with her, or am I looking at Katie like I'm her mirror? Because TikTok is looking at me like you're my mirror. Facebook and LinkedIn and YouTube are looking at me like you're in a room with me. And the word for that is a distortion. It's called a cognitive distortion. And all of our fucking healthcare providers exist in distortion because they're all trained to look at us like we're dead on a table or being prepared to be have surgery, so mostly dead. We're not contemplated as having any kind of direct relationship to gravity. Like literally, humans are not contemplated as on the planet in Western medicine. They're contemplated on a table or on a piece of paper. So Chinese medicine says, we got to get into the analog. We have to get into the 3D. We have to get into the soft and mushy. And if the soft and mushy isn't obvious and apparent, then it must be me. And soft and mushy is going to be not as accurate as a computer. All right, it's 1, 2, 3, 4. I am a hungry, hungry hippo. I'm having more hot flashes today as well. So I'm gonna jump off over here. And I'll see you all soon. I think that's been a nice hour or so. I hope I see some of you in that work.